because this one ended in a 2-2 draw. All right, let's bring in the rest of our crew, shall we? Because you know when we're talking about France, we have to reach for our favorite French World Cup winner, and that is Frank Leboeuf. Frank is joining us now. Frank, I know it's not the first choice France team, of course, no Kylian Mbappe, as well as he's gone back to Madrid to deal with that ankle injury. But your thoughts on the performance and also the result?
Well, that wasn't the best, and we're not shaking, and I think nobody is worried about the fact that France is going to qualify. But yeah, we quite expected better. I mean, it was a one-way traffic game. France dominated the game, but you know, credits to the Icelandics. They did what they had to do, and they had two chances, and they scored two goals. And again, you know, credit to them. I was pleased to see people coming back, like Nkunku, like Thauvin. Thauvin scored a goal like 3 days ago against Azerbaijan, but I never expected to see him again with the national team. That was nice. But overall, I would say that France showed some good stuff. But I would never say anything, because I remember playing against Iceland over there, drawing 1-1, because it's very hard to, I wouldn't say take it seriously. It's just that the fact that it's not a stadium where you enjoy playing, because the atmosphere is really strange. You have your own championship. You think about your future and your career. So you break a little bit, I would say, in games like that, and it's understandable for the players. They don't give 100% maybe, but again, credit to the Icelandic. They did what they had to do. They were fighting hard, and they played well. And when France got sloppy, they got a chance to draw that game. And yeah, nothing to worry about again. And just enjoying a good game of football, I would say, with 4 goals. And happy to see Mateta scoring as well.
I'll always hold Iceland, you know, close to my heart, really. You know, ever since they
beat England,
at the Euros in Paris.
Yeah.
Absolutely sent them packing with their tail between their legs.
And the thunder clap, the Viking clap.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously there's slim pickings in terms of the strength of the player pool that they have, and so at times they have been more competitive than others. That particular time, around 2016, they were quite a big, strong physical side with some decent players, and it kind of goes in peaks and troughs like a lot of countries. But Frank's right. I've been to that stadium and I've been to Reykjavik. It's not the easiest place to conjure up the atmosphere, and the Icelandic players do it particularly well being a home game, but for an away player it can be a little tricky in a sense. And you know, for France, we talk about it all the time, France and Spain and one or two others. Whatever happens in these games, they will qualify for these major tournaments. It's just for them about gearing up to get into these tournaments and getting some players, some squad players, some game time, and getting a feeling within the actual squad itself. And as you can see here, as Frank said, the actual game itself was pretty much heavily favoured in France's favour, as you would expect.
Yeah, Frank, another thing too, the other day on Extra Time, our Julian Laurens said that he thinks that Deschamps will actually be able to play the likes of Doué, Mbappe, Olise and Dembele all at the same time in the 11. And we know that France, as you pointed out, are absolutely spoiled for choice in a lot of positions. But do you see, first of all, what do you think France's strongest 11 is? And do you see a scenario where he can actually play all those names?
Well, I put down a team where, yeah, of course, you will have some. You will have Mbappe for sure. If Dembele is on fire like he's been, and he comes back from his injury, the player that he used to be last season, yeah, no doubt that those two are going to play. After, you have to choose between Olise, Doué, Barcola, Thuram, Marcus, the older brother. So it's complicated at front, but I think that's the team that I lined up, because I think that's how I see the team playing. But of course, we're still far away from the World Cup, and you can see Nunes on the bench, Doué, Saliba, Ekitike, Barcola, Camavinga, Gusto, Hernandez. Of course, you have players like Bade playing for Leverkusen at the back. Can you imagine that you have to put Saliba on the bench? I mean, it's because I think I put down what Deschamps would think. Of course, for me, Saliba would never be on the bench, but That's what I think. It's the competition between players with France is going to be hard, because I think you can name like 35 names who can be in that squad.
He's got two players there, Deschamps, that he seems to trust in Upamecano and Konate, and more so Upamecano, but this season in particular, Konate, as Stevie has mentioned several times, it just has been a bit of a disaster, both off the ball and on the ball. And Julian was talking yesterday actually about his top players of the season, his top 10 players to start off this season, and he had Saliba in there. I think Arsenal haven't lost a goal when he's played. So it's, to Frank's point, that is kind of a strange one that, you know...
But Deschamps, if you remember Deschamps, maybe 12 months ago, maybe 18 months ago, when Saliba actually was clearly the top guy, maybe even in the Premier League, maybe even in Europe, but Deschamps came out and said he wasn't quite ready yet. So maybe he's got a little... You know, coaches sometimes have a problem with certain players for some reason that you can't quite put your finger on. And it would seem that Saliba falls into that category with Deschamps, because I'm with Craig. Upamecano and Konate, I mean, they got mistakes in them.
But that's, sorry, it goes the other way, doesn't it? Some managers and coaches, and we've both seen it, where players aren't playing well for their club. And some managers just throw that out and go, well, do you know what? He's done a good job for me. And so I'm trusting him, even though at club level there's been mistakes and the performances has dipped. We've both seen it. We've played with players who we've turned up for international duty and think he's going to get dropped. And he doesn't, because the manager's mindset is he's been playing well for me, Frank.
Yeah, that's the thing, and it can go the opposite way, where Saliba is absolutely perfect with Arsenal. But today, for example, he made the mistake who allowed a corner for the Icelandics, and they score on that corner. So Deschamps is gonna point that and say, you know, it's what I'm saying. The guy with France, with the national team, makes mistakes. I think it's a kind of an untrusting way of showing to Saliba, and it's not a good thing. I think Saliba, he feels it. He feels that he hasn't got all the credits that maybe the others, like Upamecano or Konate, have on the Deschamps' highs. And that's really strange, because, I don't know, Saliba is, for me, one of the best defenders in the world. And if Deschamps would give all the credits or the trust that he gives to the others, I think Saliba would be the skipper of that team.
To Frank's point, you know, when we used to go, I know when I went with Scotland, the thing that every single Scottish manager ever said to me was, I want you to play the way you play for your club team. That's what everybody was told, because that's why you got picked. And so that kind of reassured you, to Frank's point. But Saliba is trying too hard. Saliba's doing things that he wouldn't do at Arsenal because he's trying to prove to Deschamps that he's the man. And so that's completely thrown him off, which is why he's making those errors that sometimes you get away with, but sometimes you don't. But as Frank said, Deschamps remembers them all. He will remember every mistake Saliba makes.